Hey there, I'm doing an errata video here. Special thanks to Andrew for pointing this out to me. I've been doing something wrong throughout the playthrough. I just in the middle of uploading part 5, which is the end of game turn 2. So game turn 2 is ending right now. And there's one piece of rules that I was getting wrong. It's really tricky because when you read the rule book, it goes either way. But then once he, explained it to me, then you read the rules again and you're like, oh, I see it now. So it has how I resolve combat. So the way combat works, and I'm just going to use some tokens over here. Let's say I have 2 units here, and I'm attacking a Russian unit here. It doesn't matter if they're spread apart or anything. That's for the purpose of this. So the minimum chit draw is you draw 2, because the defender has 2 pips. So you draw 2 chits, minimum. Then what I was doing was calculating, okay, how many of these allow me to draw. So I was saying, okay, well, if you have a 2-pip attacker, that lets you draw 1, and let me just grab another one here. A 3-pip attacker. This lets me draw 2, this lets me draw 1, this lets me draw 1. So that's 4. So I was playing it where, okay, I draw 2 minimum, and then I can draw up to 4 more. That's wrong. This is the maximum is 4, the minimum is 2. So once I draw these 2, I've already drawn the chits for those 2. This lets me draw potentially 2 more, and then I can choose to stop or keep going or whatever. So if I have a situation like this where I'm only able to draw 2, and this is the minimum 2, then I stop drawing. The minimum is the maximum. And then if I have a situation like this, I still draw the minimum, even if it exceeds the maximum, because the maximum is always equal to whatever the pips are, potentially. But the pips aren't in addition to. I was adding the pips in addition to this, and that's not how it works. This, where you're calculating the strength of your attacking units, that is calculating a maximum number. This is calculating a minimum number, and those are 2 separate numbers. They're not added together. This is what I was doing in parts 1 through 5. So please forgive me. This is a big mistake, and it's one that actually made my game harder. And you'll see at the end of part 5, I'm, basically mumbling and getting very frustrated with this game because I really felt like I played it well and I still didn't do well enough. Well, this is why. It's very, very wrong. And the other part to this is, let's say the Soviets are the ones attacking. So now we have, this happening, and let's say this is our defenders. There is no minimum draw for the Soviets. They're only doing their maximum draw. So in this case, they would draw 2 tokens. Now, I'm not counting, combat tactics or other things. The Soviets would just draw their max, always. So what I did is I always said, okay, the Soviets are going to draw 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9. I would draw 9 chits for the Soviets in this case. That's not what happens at all. They draw 2. This and this. That's it. And so I was drawing 9 combat chits, and then they were, of course, getting all kinds of hits on me because they have combat tactics that help them negate hits and all this other stuff. The Soviets would only draw 2. The number of pips I have don't even matter because there is no min-max draw when the Soviets are attacking. This is a big mistake, and enough that I'm probably going to start over after. So I uploaded part 5. I really think that the teaching of the game is great. I think you're going to get all the concepts, but this combat here, if you understand that I did combat wrong through the first 5 videos, you'll be able to watch the rest of these videos and I think, still get a very good feel for how this game goes. Obviously, the outcome is not going to go very well because I'm getting my butt handed to me, but it's because I was drawing 9 chits in this situation instead of just 2. And 9 combat chits, you would think that maybe that helps me as the defender, but that's not true. They were the ones benefiting from the extra chits, not me. So my apologies there. I could have read that rule book 50 times and thought that I was doing this correctly. It took a viewer to explain it to me for it to finally click. And I apologize because it just happens like that. When you're playing solitaire games, you don't know you're doing something wrong because there's nobody there to correct you. So I don't believe I need to delete my videos. It does drastically change the outcome. So the outcome that you're seeing in the videos is going to be, drastically off what it's supposed to be. But the gameplay, everything else, when we're doing the calculations and the other things, I think are still pretty solid. But the combat, please understand that you don't count the pips for the maximum. The pips are only for the minimum. The units themselves are the only things you use for the maximum, plus the combat tactics. So forgive me. I feel very embarrassed. This game is a humbling game to play. Even when you think you have it right, you don't. So my hat off to all the people who have this game mastered. But I'm going to make sure this video is there for you so you can see how the combat works. And then, understand that for the first 5 videos, you just ignore that. And if I start a second playthrough, then we'll do it the right way and see how that turns out. Because it's probably going to have a completely, drastically different outcome. Because I was getting very frustrated with how much I'm losing this game. And this is why. So thank you, Andrew. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody else. I appreciate your time and joining me at the table.